welcome back to the Grand and Overly Complicated Comic Vault. I am Captain Logan.
And I am Eric.
Today, Eric and I are going to tackle Crisis on Infinite Earths. We're finally doing this, Eric.
You say finally. Like, it's not like there's been a lead-up. It's not Long Halloween.
No, but...
It's not Demon in the Bottle.
But it's a major event, and I'm surprised we've never even really talked about going back and doing it. Like, this is a thing that I've wanted to do for a long time.
Okay.
And I'm kind of excited that somebody requested it. Because I didn't have it, like, on a short list or anything. But no, for a long time, every now and again, I'm like, I'm going to sit down and read Crisis, and I'm like, I think talking about this book by myself is going to be hard. And so, like, I'm glad you agreed to do it, because I wanted to have a conversation with somebody about this. I'm
going to approach this in an essay format. I'm going to put my opening statement.
Before you do that,
yes.
can I just say thanks to Back Studios for requesting this. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to put my opening statement, and then this discussion is going to support it, and I'm probably going to reiterate it at the end.
Okay, go ahead.
This is not fun. This is homework. There are good ideas in here. I did not enjoy reading it. That doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay.
I read this purely as an academic exercise, and I do not enjoy it. It doesn't mean it's bad. We will talk about many good things in it. This is homework. It is everything I thought it was in that regard. It's kind of like how I feel going back to Golden Age science fiction. I know it's important, and I know I should love it, but boy, is everyone stiff and stilted. That's not really my criticism of this, but that's with Golden Age science fiction.
And it's difficult to put yourself enough back in the day where you're not affected by other things you've read, right?
Yes. It's hard to view this as one, the first time something like this happened. I know it wasn't the first major event, but like this. Yeah. Secret Wars is not like this, where it's everyone. Like, Secret Wars takes a very small cast. It's hard to put myself in that place because there's so many pages of people just saving people. Just like, things are going wrong, and here's these characters. I also haven't been reading DC for 30 years.
It feels like 137 subplots.
Yes.
And you just keep checking in with
6 of them are important.
Yes, exactly. Did you find yourself occasionally thinking, I know I could skip this, I'm not going to, but I could?
I skimmed a lot.
Were there places that you did that?
A lot of it just saving people. I start skimming. Especially in the first 4 issues.
I didn't, and I'm not going to be able to speak to any of that stuff any better than you will be able to, because I wasn't reading those books. And, I think if you're reading a lot of DC when this comes out, it's probably a real treat.
Which is weird, because they talk about it like it's a jumping-on point.
No, it's very
not. About that. It's very this is indecipherable if you don't have a working knowledge of the DC universe. What this book made me realize, I told you this the other day, is that as far as universes go, I'm a Marvel person.
Yeah.
I like this book a lot more if it's every Marvel character. I just don't care about... I know who almost everyone that shows up in this book is. Some of them peripherally. I know who Arion is because...
Yeah, I never heard of him.
So
I was like, why is this guy in Atlantis? Where's Aquaman?
So he's the king of Atlantis
before you get to Aquaman.
He's the king of Atlantis in prehistory. And I only know that because Peter David, because we used to care about continuity, and Peter David felt the need...
He deals with him in
Atlantis Chronicles.
Which you've reviewed.
Yeah. He has to explain where Arion is. So I realized, I was just like, I just don't care about so many of these people. If this was Marvel, I would care more.
Whenever we would go to prehistory stuff and cavemen and people.
There's also stuff where I'm not a purist exactly, but okay, so up front, I think I've talked about this before, I am not a George Perez fan. George Perez's biggest...
yeah, you have said that.
George Perez... Well, he has no fashion sense. And more importantly, his biggest claim to fame is that he can put a lot of people in one place and you can know who they are. I don't think his artwork is actually... looks cool or exciting. He's just able to put a lot of stuff there. When we go to, what's his name?
So you're saying John Romita would look at this book and complain that it's not dynamic enough?
Yeah, I would. No, I would love it if this book was drawn by John Romita. Or John Romita Jr., or John Byrne.
Really? Any John that draws comics.
But no, when we
we're finding out about Eric is he doesn't like George's, but he likes John's.
I can't think of another George. When we go to, what is his name? He's the dinosaur boy. He hangs out in the future, not the past.
I can't remember his name either.
So he's a Kirby creation.
Okay.
I don't care if it's not drawn by Kirby. If it's not Kirby Crackle, if it's not weird technology, I'm like, yeah, it looks like everything else in this book. I'm starting very negative, but
yeah,
it's not all negative.
We're not going to have nothing but negative things to say. So,
No.
so can I say that my experience with this was different than yours?
But this is your second time through it. This is my first time.
And that was what I was about to say.
Okay.
It's because I've read this before.
Yes.
So, Eric's description is of the first time I read this, where I was very lost, and it was very much a slog, and it's too much dialogue, and I don't know, as I'm reading it, what I actually need to keep track of and what I don't, and so I keep feeling like I need to make, like, graphs and charts and things to keep track of everything, and then you find out, when you get to the end of this, you can sit down and boil it down to a pretty simple story. Sort of.
Yes.
I mean...
The mechanics of said story can get convoluted and confusing.
There are things where I'm not exactly sure what's going on or how we get from point A to point B, but I just mean, like, this is not entirely fair, but at the end of the day, this is a video game plot.
Yeah, that's not incorrect.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a big, grand bad guy plot that we have to stop, and he's gonna ruin the whole multiverse in order to replace it with his own anti-multiverse, and you bring in a whole bunch of different characters that if you were playing a video game, you could play as different characters, and you're just going up against this guy and trying to stop him. Now, there's a lot of stuff in the background. I'm not really talking about some of the more interesting stuff with, like, characters that are dealing with the Anti-Monitor, because obviously, like, the Psycho-Pirate stuff and the Flash stuff is more interesting than that.
Mm-hmm.
But the bare bones of it, the brass tacks of it, it's a video game plot before we had those kinds of video game plots.
He even has video game bad guys in their shadow things.
Yes.
Those are video game enemies.
Yeah, and...
this is a beat-em-up.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, and the shadow things, by the way, are putties. They're just totally putties.
Yeah.
Because when we first meet them, we act like they're not really that difficult to beat, and we don't know where they come from or why they're here. And the reveal of that isn't great. Of like what, because it takes you a while to get there.
I was confused because early on in the first issue they fight them. I'm like, so we just need a fight scene, and then they say you had to fight the shadow versions of yourselves, so Harbinger made them or brought them forth.
Oh, is that what it's supposed to be?
That's what it says in the first issue.
Because later on
we get a completely different explanation.
That's what I was going to say. I forgot about that explanation, because later on... Are you sure that's in there? I don't remember that. Because later on, it's just Anti-Monitor needed minions, and he made these minions, and they've been around for, bazillions of years.
The attack was not planned, but it was not unexpected. Please do not blame poor Harbinger. Of all these beings, she was not at fault. I guess not. Okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay. But sorry, I must have misread that. I saw that as she brought them. But she's also evil, and I don't fully understand that either, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. There's a lot of question marks with this book. But I enjoyed it a lot more this read because I've been reading a lot more comics since then and watching a lot more superhero media.
You're probably a lot more familiar with all these characters.
And a lot more familiar with some of these characters. And it was kind of enjoyable to see where a lot of things that I've seen in other media came from in the first place. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about this.
That was a big thing for me. And like I sent you pictures sometimes when like I'd see things where I'm like, oh, I know that came from this.
Yeah.
Oh, Metal is just this. Oh, Thrones Forever is just this.
Yes.
I don't know if Doctor Who nicked the idea of all time simultaneously happening at once, but it's real similar.
It feels like every cosmic event after this is in some way Crisis.
Yeah.
And it was fun to...
And that's impressive.
It was fun to go back and see what that was.
Then we're still in the shadow of this event. Even though I didn't realize it, we're still kind of making this.
Yeah. When you hear people talk about Crisis... It's usually, people who are in the comics, it's usually just a reference point. Yeah. I'm convinced that a lot of people back in the day, around 85, that are talking pre-crisis, post-crisis, have never actually read this. Or they maybe started it and they got bored and they didn't finish it. But like you were talking about earlier, and I think we need to kind of underline in like asterisks and underscore this point. This, I think, is kind of over-thought out, where it exists in order to get us to a simpler place, and it is the most complicated thing. And it's for a very small fraction of people, really. Like,
it's for diehard DC fans in 1985.
If you're not familiar, Crisis exists solely... Now, it's very interesting with the publication history because it's also one of the first like maxi series DC did, and you get that opening with this particular edition of this book that explains that back then that was considered like a difficult sell, that like you back then we thought of number ones differently. The idea that
people didn't trust number ones because they didn't know if the series was going to stick around.
But if the book had been going a really long time, they would jump on it, and they weren't concerned about reading everything that had come before because they knew that it would keep going and they could get invested. We don't think about it like that at all anymore.
Now, when he talks about the introduction, he's talking about when he broke into comics.
Right.
By 1985, we are doing miniseries.
Yeah, but we're still not doing as many as we do later.
Well, and we're not doing big ones. Like there's a lot of four-part minis.
I'm just saying, I think that mentality still was there to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
At least older readers still have that.
I mean, they probably had a little bit of confidence because this does come out a year after Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Because Secret Wars 84. So, like, there's probably a little bit of, like, okay, we can sustain a 12-issue miniseries. But, like, we don't get Watchmen without this, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know where Camelot 3000 falls.
But I thought when he was talking about that, he was saying it was hard to pitch because it was a maxi series.
He said when he first broke in.
No, I thought he was talking about this specifically also, though.
But I think he said he pitched it when he first broke in.
Oh, you're right, he did. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like, this is the first thing he wanted to do.
Yeah. No, and that's funny because the only reason...
It wouldn't have been this.
That's true. Yeah, the only reason this exists, again, is to get us to a new continuity. So for people who aren't aware, the idea was DC had all of these different universes where you even had some different versions of the same characters. And they were meticulous about their continuity, but it didn't all connect together because they were like different separate continuities, and that made it difficult for new readers to break in.
And they'd be confused where like they're reading a book where like Batman's older and has a daughter, and then go read a different book and Batman's
he doesn't
30 and he doesn't have a daughter, and he's hanging out with Robin, and people were like, but how can they be... What is going on? Like, it was confusing for people.
Yeah.
I don't think that's confusing, but maybe that's because I live in 2019 and, like, I'm used to multiverses and things like that.
And you're used to a lot of iterations of the same characters.
Yeah.
Maybe at the same time. And also because at the time, you didn't have that in extra media, where now kids are going to grow up, if their parents have, like, every version of Spider-Man on film, they're going to grow up with 3 or 4 different versions of it. Like, you would have had that at this time.
And Marvel is a cohesive whole that's not, at this time, Marvel is a cohesive whole that's not doing stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, they will do that later.
Because I do think, jumping in, I think you mentioned this in the introduction, the idea, or like the feeling is, oh, so this doesn't count.
Yeah.
This isn't important. Everything over at Marvel is important, everything matters. Because at this point, Marvel cares about continuity.
But this was just kind of it was splintered. So like you could have crossovers, and I think we did that still, right? Weren't there sometimes crossovers between the universes?
For DC?
Even before Crisis?
Yes. Well, that's why it's called Crisis.
Yeah.
It's because whenever we did those crossovers, because it all starts with that Justice League issue where the JLA meets the JSA, because we took all the Golden Age heroes and put them in Earth 2, which is real crappy to them.
I thought I was right about that. That all predates this, but I just wanted to make sure.
So famously, that story is called Crisis on 2 Earths.
Yeah, and then you have Crisis on multiple Earths.
Yeah. So we kind of
because I think some people probably think that the Crisis name starts with Dez. This is the most famous one.
Yeah,
but it doesn't start with Dez.
Yeah. No, Crisis, I guess, was just what we always called it whenever we would cross between, specifically Earth 1 and 2, but I think maybe on some other Earths, too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I must have read that opening bit wrong, because I knew that there were miniseries during that period, but, like...
But there's not in the 70s, which is when he breaks in.
Yeah.
But no, by 85, well, we've definitely done some, but they're mostly shorter, like 4-6 issues. We're not doing big ones. This should have been 6 issues.
No, it really should have. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the meat of this, if we can.
Yeah.
Eric, why don't you just kind of break down what the kind of broad strokes, like main idea of this is, what the situation is, and then we can talk some details. I don't think we should try to do a full blown synopsis of this book.
Sure. Well, actually, one quick last thing.
Yeah,
I was going to say, jumping off what you said before, where you said a bunch of people probably didn't read this. They just know it's pre and post Crisis.
Yeah, right.
I started reading this realizing that I did not know what the plot of Crisis was. I was like, I know there's a Monitor. I don't know what he looks like. And I know there's an Anti-Monitor. And when I got to him, I was like, well, he doesn't look like what I understand him to look like.
That's because he changes forms.
Yes.
The one that we get action figures for is the second form.
But I think the first form looks cooler.
No, I still like the second form.
But I think I might only think that because I'm used to the second form.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, almost everything about Christ on the Infinite Earth is what I've gleaned from Infinite Crisis, because I've read that. So yeah, it was interesting. Like as I started reading, I was like, you know what? I'm not sure what the plot of this is.
Well, and you knew some of the you knew some of the major story details.
I know Supergirl
like
dies.
Supergirl dies.
I know Barry Allen
you know
dies.
Flash dies. Yeah. Did you know Wonder Woman dies, but then doesn't actually die? Because I remembered.
She's just dying. There's 2 Wonder Womans.
Well, yeah, we think she's dead.
Oh,
and
yes.
Then that's what I meant. Like, did you know that whole thing? They fake you out on.
I did not know that. I also didn't care.
No, I didn't either. But I'm just saying. But the cover of this would lead you to believe that she's going to die.
Oh yes, it does.
That's why I mentioned that. I wondered if you knew about that.
I did not know about that.
But anyway,
so there's a crisis, and it's on many Earths.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It says infinite. It's like what, like 15 like named scene Earths.
Yes, but the title still holds because before the story even begins, they're disappearing.
That's true.
We're already losing a bunch of them.
And we're also, I think, double counting Earths because we're like on just Earth 1, we are backwards and forwards. We are all the way in the future with the.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
with the Legion.
We're dealing
so like
with different time periods, but with the same Earth.
Yeah, so it's not just.
But we treat it like they're different Earths.
Yes,
yeah, that's true.
It's not just multiple dimensions; it's multiple times.
Now they deal with this. I don't mean to stop you, but I gotta ask you this question. They deal with this some. I don't always completely understand the explanation. Do you sometimes find yourself confused about the terminology where we're talking about specifically the planets, but then there's the universe around the planets? And like when the Earths themselves,
it's that Asgard 9 Realms thing. I've never been clear about.
When you get to the end, toward the end, and you have the 5 that are all starting to merge, but not quite, and then we're in this weird limbo for a while where we think we've solved the problem, but the Earths are still.
I loved that.
That's great.
That almost felt like it was predicting what fans thought what was going to be post-crisis was. Yeah. That's why I read that as like, this is what you all think we're going to do.
And we live in that status quo for a couple issues, and it's
just
or maybe just an issue.
Well, we're issue 11 and then into 12.
Yeah, and then we get rid of it into. But like for a minute, you think you're going to live in that status quo for a while because you're dealing with some characters that still remember everything that's happened, but living in a world.
The paradox stuff is really fun.
It's fun. But anyway, so when the 5 Earths are overlapping, what's going on with the rest of the universes? The planets themselves are overlapping.
I don't know.
But it seems like the rest of the universe is fine.
Okay, forget the metaphysics of all of it.
Yeah.
Why is Earth 1 and 2 important and no one else is? We're going to merge Earth 1 and 2, and we're told that there's an Oa. But there's not, but there's not an Oa in Earth 2 because that Oa got drifted into the antimatter universe, and it's like Quark or something.
Yeah, that's
Where did we get that name?
I don't know. That was weird.
But everyone else has representations of the universes as well. Like there's the Alexander Luthor universe and like all these different things, right?
Well, he loses his right away though.
Right, which is Earth 3, and I don't understand him either. But
no, I don't either.
There doesn't seem to be any replications of Oa, and I kept trying to figure out why. Like,
I
kept trying to like Oa's really important.
Yeah,
but there's not. There's only one Oa, and then there's the antimatter Oa. But like, there's not like Elseworlds Green Lanterns. There doesn't seem to be.
Well, what I'm confused about is, and maybe this sounds dumb, is the idea that when because it was supposed to be one universe, and then it accidentally became many, and that's what we have to fix. Is the idea that we keep saying Earths, we're making a big deal out of that because that's duplicated a bunch of times, but the rest of the universe is different? Is that the idea? And that's why you don't have multiple Oas?
No, because
But you
I guess we only have multiple Earths?
That's what I'm saying, because is there more than one Apocalypse? We treat Darkseid like he's the only Darkseid.
That's true. Okay,
I think maybe that's the idea: is that there's a bunch of different Earths, but everything else is
because the Oa thing felt like trying to make something,
which of course doesn't make sense because in the solar system you also would have multiple Jupiters and multiple Mars.
Yeah. Well, the Oa thing seemed to be, or I assumed was because there's a Green Lantern in Earth 2. But it's a Golden Age Green Lantern. He's not part of the core, so we have to explain why Green Lantern exists in an alternate universe, but isn't part of the core. That's what that read like to me.
I kind of like that explanation, though. I kind of like that Green Lantern is a different thing.
Sure, but I'm just confused by, I don't know. I don't fully understand the metaphysics of all that.
No,
but no,
I
the Earth thing is a really good point that I hadn't thought of while I was reading it.
Well, that's always driven me crazy. Yeah. But anyway, so...
I also kept waiting for the explanation for why Earth is so important. Because it doesn't start at Earth, it starts at Noah. And then it's like, but everything else about the story is about Earth? I was like, but why Earth?
So the Monitor's running around and he's grabbing up super beings, or
random super beings from across time,
or at least people wearing a costume. This has that problem that we get in a lot of events later on, where if you're wearing a costume, you're important regardless of whether or not you have superpowers. And there's even a line that's really weird to me somewhere that says that there are more of them than there are of regular people.
Is that... That's true across the entire multiverse.
Maybe, but
that doesn't seem to match. That doesn't seem to make sense.
There's this scene where we go back to just like the regular little people standing around watching all this crazy stuff happen, and they're like, yeah, we're just the people that got left behind, and you have all these superheroes and villains, and I guess there's somehow more of them. That was hilarious.
I kept waiting for the Rube Goldbergian machine for the superheroes he picked. And there isn't
There's
one.
not one. I don't know why he picks who he picks.
He says they're all important. They aren't. And later we will add people to that group and remove people from that group.
Yeah.
There is no rhyme or reason to the people he picks. But he acts like it's part of this big master plan.
No, and whenever something actually happens in his favor and we move forward, I mean, he dies about halfway through. But
he dies in issue 4. He dies.
It's pretty early.
His death is if you break it into 3 acts, his death is the end of the first act.
Kind of the first act.
Because it's the end of
that's a good point.
Issue 4.
Is the second one the death of Supergirl?
Yeah.
Is that what you...
I think so.
But anyway...
No. Anti-Monitor's first death is the end of the second act, right? Because I think that probably happens around issue 8.
That's fair.
I think that's...
But yeah,
that's right.
Whenever...
I could be wrong.
Whenever the story is moved forward with a big event where we get like a big blow for the villain side and like the heroes are winning, it's always like one character, and I don't think it's like with Supergirl, I don't think it's even anyone that the Monitor intended to be really important.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're right.
Like, I think he dies early, but like I think his side kind of wins on accident. Like, I don't think he does anything.
No,
really
but we
important,
keep talking about
almost
we have this master plan that we're carrying out.
Exactly, yeah. It's because
he's the reverse Mammon.
Yeah, the way I would think this really would play out would be a really boring comic book, where one side has a machine that destroys universes, and the other side has a machine that negates that machine. Like, you think Monitor would just build something?
Yeah.
Why is he going for superheroes? I feel like...
Well, he does. He builds the 2 machines that's supposed to merge the universes. I guess...
Oh, I forgot about that.
He grabs... Okay, here's what I'm confused about.
I feel like they have kind of a hard time getting everyone involved in this story.
They do. And here's what I'm confused about. So, in the first act of this story...
He's building a machine.
He's building 2. One on Earth 1 and one on Earth 2, because those are the only 2 worlds that are apparently important. Because we're told that it's split in 2... And that's what we're told, but there's infinite Earths.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it accidentally split in 2, but there's infinite.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it doesn't seem like they're spawning from those 2 Earths. I understand the Earth 1 and Earth 2, and why those are the real Earths. Anyways, so he's got a machine on both of them, he's going to merge them like they were supposed to be. Again, we're only merging 2 Earths. That's how it was supposed to be. And I feel like he only picked the superheroes to protect those machines, because that's all we see them doing.
Okay.
So why didn't he get everybody? Why did he like, these are the important ones? Get all of the superheroes, put them around your machines, and merge the Earths.
It seems like a really arbitrary, weird assortment.
It is!
At the beginning. And you have a bunch of people that are like, why am I here? And I'm also asking that question.
Yep.
But yeah, it seems like he just picks people because they're wearing costumes.
It really feels like he's just like, who's nearby, get them. He's like Zordon.
So yeah, the Alexander Luthor thing, I don't totally understand.
He's both matter and antimatter. He's the only being like this in the universe, and they never explain. Or if they do, I missed it.
He doesn't explode. Like he has parts of matter and antimatter that somehow are perfectly balanced and able to be in the same being.
But they never explain how or why. Like, I kept waiting for... Like, I don't know. I guess I don't need a how. I just need a why. Why is he like this? Was his whole world like this? Was Earth 3 the, like, half-in, half-out world? Like, I don't understand. Yeah. Also, he's a baby, and then he's not a baby, and I didn't understand why time passed.
Yeah, he's got a real Wesley Crusher thing going on.
Yeah, he does.
He's real important for some reason, and he's like this prodigy, and...
I'm gonna guess he's the reason that, like, Jeff Johns can't stop doing, like, good guy Lex Luthor.
Probably so.
Because he uses him in Infinite Crisis, which we should do at some point. Grant Morrison considers it the best comic book event ever.
I like it a lot. I haven't read it in a long time, but
it's a lot better. I like it a lot more than this.
Yeah.
I will say that.
And again...
If it's building on this...
Again, we are probably sounding more down on this than we mean to be. I
just don't understand anything.
A lot of the logistics of it are really confusing, but I didn't feel like that this time as much while I was reading it. But then as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't really know why that's going on. And stuff's not sticking with me. Like, I'm having a real hard time keeping stuff in my brain.
I think it's hard to remember because so much happens, but, like, I don't know, like, 30% of it's important.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot going on, but it's not all that important.
There are a lot of, like, dramatic character bits that I'm sure I would appreciate more if I was reading the books that were around this. There are too many places where you'll check in with characters because, I mean, again, this is a feat. Part of the point of this was to see if they could cram every single character that has ever existed in the DC universe in this
John
book.
Constantine shows up in this.
All here. I don't think there's anybody they missed. If there is, like, I never saw Lobo.
Doesn't exist yet.
Oh, well, that would be the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, late 80s, because he's a reaction to Wolverine and Punisher and all of those.
Oh, of course. No, I knew that. I knew that. Okay, but, like, everybody that existed is probably in here someplace. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of
impressive. And they might be on this cover.
And part of the reason maybe I like the art in this a little bit more than you is it feels like he's drawing them all the way they appeared in their books. It doesn't feel like he's got, like, one style for everybody. Like, it sort of feels like if you put a bunch of cartoon shows together, you know, it's sort of like Super Secret Crisis War, where you keep, which of course is parroting this and other things, where you know, you keep the same styles of all those different characters, the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter, and they don't look the same. They look like they're from different TV shows. I feel like he's doing that with this.
I don't.
Really?
It just all looks like George Perez art to me.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it just looks like 80s DC.
I mean, it goes together more than that stuff does, but I don't know. It feels like he's got the expressions right, and, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm easily impressed, but
it didn't feel different. Like, it just felt like George Perez art. Also, the Spectre's really important in this.
Yeah.
He's treated like this grand cosmic being, which I've only seen one at a time, which is DC versus Marvel.
Yes.
Because that's why he's crashing the Spectre.
That must be the reason.
And he is the counterpoint to the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
Every other time I've ever seen the Spectre, he's like Ghost Punisher.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't...
He's like an infinitely, like, cosmic being.
Yeah, I was confused about that when I read DC versus Marvel, and then that's in this, like you're talking about, that's in this, and I'm like, no, I thought you had powers like Deadman or something.
Yeah, Deadman's in here too.
Yeah, he is.
He's fun.
Because he exists before Lobo does.
Yep. Neil Adams made Deadman, I think. Neil Adams is a famous run on it now, I don't know if he makes them. God, so much happens. So, yeah, the Monitor got a bunch of heroes, and we don't know why.
Yep.
To protect his machines, that doesn't work. Then the Monitor dies because Harbinger kills him. Harbinger is a girl that the Monitor grabbed and, like, when she was a child. And they
sort
treat
of like Jor-El
in
in Season 3 Smallville with the fake Kara.
There's this weird thing where what I think Harbinger is supposed to be is, while he is looking at the big picture of all the infiniteness of the multiverse, he still stopped to save one little girl. It doesn't work for me. Because he stopped to save one little girl? I don't get it.
Yeah, but, like, was he just distracted in that moment where he can see everything, you know, the distance and everything, and then like that popped out to him? Is that the idea?
Yeah, they treat it like it's a moment of, like, sweetness, but I took it as master planning. He knew that he would use her later, and then, right? Like, it's supposed to be like a flash of humanity, but I don't have that. I understand Harbinger, because Harbinger is being controlled by the Anti-Monitor, but I don't know why. He just talks to her, and then she does things. And he doesn't do this to anyone else. Like, he makes a deal with Psycho Pirate. Psycho Pirate's just talking to him.
Yeah.
He's not controlled. I don't understand. And, like, It would make more sense to me.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, why can't he just control it? Well,
it would make more sense to me if Monitor made her, and so Anti-Monitor also.
Which is what I thought happened
her.
for a minute, and then that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Psychopirate, it seems like I'm confused about whether or not there's any like enjoyment from the Anti-Monitor. Or if, like sometimes he feels like a bit of a sadist, and sometimes it just seems like he doesn't have any empathy or emotion at all. Where it's like, the only reason you would not just control Psychopirate would be because you're having fun screwing with him, and there's places where it sort of feels like that.
But he doesn't control anyone else.
Yeah.
It's only Harbinger.
Yeah, and then, like, she, at one point, she loses her Harbinger form and then is herself again, but retains all of her memories.
Yeah. And at first
she's
I
like that for a while,
and
then she goes back to Harbinger later, but I think is in control again. Well, so now she just has Harbinger powers.
So I thought Harbinger might be evil, but then sometimes she's not. Like I thought maybe like when she's in the Harbinger form, she's evil. But that's not true either.
No, it's not.
I think even when she's not Harbinger, he talks to her and makes her do things. I don't understand Harbinger at all.
Yeah,
I don't understand Alexander Luthor at all. And they're like the focal point of like the arc because they're there.
Yeah, and I found myself tuning out reading their stuff sometimes. It's like, no, this is the stuff you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, because that's like the. You want to say really good about Harbinger and Alexander Luthor? The middle issue, the history of the DC Universe, I thought that was great.
No, it's great. Are you talking about all the stuff with Oa and going all the way back with the Guardians and all that?
Yeah, the like complete breakdown of DC Universe I thought was really good.
So the setup for this is really cool because it uses things that you know, and it's not just making up new characters. Like with Monitor and Harbinger and all that, it is. Maybe Harbinger was in something else, I don't know. I assume not.
I don't think so. I know Monitor is. And it felt... He acts like he was seeding Christ on Infinite Earths, but the way it's talked about here, it sounds like he had this character created as a kid, used him in Teen Titans, got the chance to tell a story he wanted to tell as a kid, and was like, nah, it was all part of his master plan. He was selling weapons to villains because he needed... God, do you think if you go back and read those Teen Titans issues that that Monitor is in, he's selling weapons to the villains that will then do the rebellion thing? There's no way that it lines up, right?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay.
Well, if he didn't know he was going to get to do Crisis when he wrote that stuff, why would he be seeding it?
Yeah.
Because... Like, didn't they come to him? Like didn't he decide? Okay, well, wait, I got this idea that would fix that would fix this problem.
It sounds like it sounds like he was
they needed
pushing,
something and he pitched this.
Yeah, it sounds like he was pushing for this and like probably like a writer's retreat or something where he's like okay, look, we're getting a lot of complaints and people don't know what's going on. We need to do something. I have this idea. That's how I understand it, but I don't know.
Well, you said that after this, they didn't immediately restart everybody's books.
Oh, it's terrible. Wonder Woman doesn't get restarted for like 2 years. So they would keep publishing... Like, imagine New 52. If for the first 2 years, some of those books didn't renumber and were part of the old continuity.
Yeah.
Until they did renumber, and you finally got the New 52 version.
And you said that this is... right after Crisis, kind of like the way New 52 did things where they have their cake and eat it too, where some things start over, but some things they put in a bubble.
Yeah, Superman starts over, Wonder Woman starts over, Batman just keeps going. He gets a new origin, but everything is kind of still canon. Teen Titans continues, because it's popular. Legion, I believe, continues? Question mark? I don't know about Legion.
And when you say everything's canon with Batman, I mean, with the Earth 1 Batman, I mean, obviously...
Well, no, because they're merged now?
Oh, so they keep... everything, but I mean, like, they can't keep Helena Wayne.
Well, no.
There's stuff like that they get rid of.
No, but my understanding is when we get the Golden Age stuff, like, all of that, like, 50s Dick Sprang stuff is part of the, like, is, like, part of Earth 2 Batman,
Mm-hmm.
I think, but when they're all merged now, so, like, all of that counts. At least that's how Grant Morrison uses it. I've heard Dennis O'Neil talk about that there was no fixed continuity for Batman. Like, it just kind of all counted when you wanted to count. It kind of didn't count when you didn't want to count.
I feel like the biggest issue with this probably is just structural. I think you could tell the exact same story you have here in a little bit more of a logical way that would that would keep readers more interested and not lost and not have as much of a splintered thing. Like, it's difficult to do that again because you're using so many different characters, but like give me a more clear through line. Check back with certain characters that are going to matter more often and let me understand who I should be invested in and who is getting just a cameo, I guess is what I'm saying. So, for instance, female Dr. Light has a straight-up character arc and an opportunity for change.
And I assume she would because we get her origin in... She's created in this.
Yeah.
But like, she's not really that important.
Yeah, but she has a real specific and kind of indecently compelling character arc.
Sure.
Like check in with her a little bit more often.
I mean, the last thing I would have done writing this was like, what if I make a new character?
No, that's... And honestly, I didn't know she was new for this, but...
Well, she gets her powers in this. I don't know if she exists before this, but she gets her powers in this.
Oh, yeah, I guess she does.
Yeah, no, this is her origin story.
Yeah, no, because she's like a mean scientist lady. Oh, yeah, you're right. We just get her...
Why would you even think to do that in the universe-ending restarting event?
And where you're using like 150,000 characters.
Yeah. Let me make just one more.
But I really appreciated where we started with her and where we got to. Like, that felt like I don't know if I would say it's super realistic, but I mean, like, it was decently compelling. Like I like the way that she's inspired by Supergirl.
Well, and I like Huntress in issue 11.
Yeah.
My problem is, before that, I get, like, one scene with Huntress.
No, that's true. No, she's great in that, but all of a sudden she's there and she matters.
Yeah. We have, like, one scene with her and Power Girl, and then we have the scene in the issue 11.
But it seems like she's introduced at that point to be kind of the token character to feel bad about the universes disappearing.
Yeah.
And that her world didn't exist, but she still remembers it. We have a couple of characters that do the "don't tell me it didn't happen, I was there, it happened" thing, and I love that.
I saw it happen!
Yeah, that's great.
It has a lot of really cool ideas like that. I've never exactly seen that done before, where it's, well, we put the worlds together, but, like, there's paradoxes all... She is Bruce Wayne's daughter, but her father never existed, and his parents were never shot in an alley.
Yeah.
But there is a Bruce Wayne whose parents were shot in an alley, but it's not hers. And, like, they just staple it all together. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then
theoretically,
Old Man Superman loses his Lois Lane.
Yeah,
but then they're putting
his job.
And his but then they're
he loses his Jimmy. He loses his Perry.
No, it was great when he goes into the Daily Planet offices.
That was a great cold open.
And Perry White's just like, "Who are you?" And yeah, no, that was really funny.
Oh,
and didn't he like pretend to be the editor or something?
No,
I forget what happened there.
So. He is editor on Earth 2.
Right.
And he goes into the editor's office.
Oh, and he thinks that he's the...
Yeah, and then Perry White's like, what are you doing in my office?
Yeah, that's what it was. I could
I think issue 1, you have all the destruction and the, like, bird, like the ground view of everything. Never do that again. We do it through the entire series.
It's so cosmic.
Yeah, issue 1 should be the one time where we, across all the Earths, like show the heroes, like, saving people. It's too big. You can't keep cutting to the casualties, to the...
See, I would have opened it big. I think all that history of the DC Universe stuff should be at the beginning.
Interesting. Yeah, like, just lead with it?
Yeah, you just like, let us know how it was supposed to be, how it's wrong. And, like, why are we making that a mystery when we're trying to keep up with so many different characters?
Why are both the Monitor and Anti-Monitor mysteries?
Yeah.
We reveal... Anti-Monitor doesn't show up until issue 5. Monitor doesn't die until issue 4, and I think that's the end of issue 2. Like, if I'm rewriting this, Monitor dies at the end of issue 2, Anti-Monitor shows up at the end of issue 3.
Right,
it shouldn't be issue 5 that Anti-Monitor shows up.
Because if you know how long this series is going to be, his death is a surprise in kind of a weird way, where it's like, oh, the story hasn't really started yet.
Yeah, we are 4 issues in. The first issue is 35 pages, 2, 3, and 4, all 25 pages, and the story doesn't start.
Again, I don't totally know how you include every character and give them a moment if you don't keep going to street level. Like, I get your point, but I think that's kind of difficult. I think the better way to do it is just to open it more cosmic, like peel back and then just keep zooming in.
I think that... Well, I also think it's probably we keep cut. you need to pick your POV character to tell this entire story from like 6 POV people.
That's what I think.
You can have everyone else, but you need to have your POV character.
And when you get to the end, it sort of feels like we had that, but not until you know who all the important characters are. I would have used Supergirl more toward the beginning if we're going to kill her off.
Yeah.
You know?
She does not matter until she does. For this story. She got the dumb headband, which is really unfortunate that she had to die with that headband on.
Yeah, that's fair.
There is a thing
her
where...
death is great.
Her death is
I
great.
think that
not as
she
good
was
as
excellent.
Flash's death.
No, it's really good.
Flash's death is so good. That the panels where like he's becoming a skeleton, the panels get smaller. That's cool.
Well, and I love how it's seated.
Mm-hmm.
And like
BVS.
And like that, yeah, I know that's hilarious. So I read that, I was like, oh, they went to Crisis for that whole.
Yeah, I was like halfway through, and you're like, did you catch up to Flash? That doesn't happen until like issue 10.
I know, it's forever.
But you asked me, I was like halfway through. I'm like, did you catch up to Flash? And I was like, no.
Yeah, I guess now that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I forgot where you were when you said, yeah, okay.
His death is great. All the stuff with him and Psycho Pirate is great. I do like that, because this is the book everyone knows Psycho Pirate from.
Yeah.
When people like use Psycho Pirate, like we listen to interviews with authors, it's always like, well, yes, of course, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Crisis, yeah.
I love that in Crisis on Infinite Earths, he's like, look, I don't need you. I could have gotten Raven. I could have gotten this character. You're just the one I got.
Yeah. Yeah, other people have your power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or have a power that's close enough.
Yeah.
But we keep treating him like he's... Whenever we see him in later things, we treat him like he's a real unique character.
It's a thing.
But I guess it's because his power drives him mad.
Well, the use
that's
of
kind of
him
interesting.
Makes me feel like what we did with a lot of villains in the 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, he's just a villain. Do you ever think about how terrifying he is?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what he feels like, where like he's in control of like 3 worlds at once, like that kind of a
thing. You
thing.
think about Mirror Master's power? Wouldn't that be horrifying?
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like not a reinvention, but like, do you ever think about how scary this guy really is?
Yeah, we make him really creepy.
Yeah.
Well, and we make him kind of sympathetic.
Well, yeah. And that's all really well done. His stuff is probably my favorite stuff in the book.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, his relationship with Flash.
Yeah.
And again, Flash is a character that we utilize correctly, where he's there from the beginning,
mm-hmm.
and we know he's important,
mm-hmm.
and it helps that we see flashes of the future dealing with him.
You know what's weird? So there's a novelization of this written by Marv Wolfman.
I can't imagine trying to read this in a novel.
Apparently it's from Flash's perspective.
Wow.
What is this story like? Flash gets no information.
No, he's
in a void
He's
for most of the
kidnapped for
story.
most of the thing.
What is a novel like?
I have no idea. I'm gonna try to read it at some point. That's crazy. We're already past the time we were gonna use for this, so we should try
Did
to
you know that villains
wrap
were
this up
involved
in
in
a
Crisis
few
on Infinite
minutes
Earths?
if we can.
I was surprised by how important Brainiac was.
Yeah, so was I. Well, and it's so we should talk about how the
Also, we should
Animonitor.
bring back Skull Robot Brainiac. That is.
I've always liked that one. We should talk about how Animonitor keeps getting beaten and keeps coming back over and over and over again. That's one of my favorite things about the book is that one thing you cannot complain about is that the bad guy is beaten too easily. That is not a problem in this book.
The thing that this does that makes me realize what I don't like about a lot of modern events, or just events in general, not just modern events, is that this has like action and reaction. It's not build up, climax. Like, we beat the Animonitor, and then we see what happens next.
Yeah.
And then the Animonitor comes back.
Yeah,
and then we beat him.
Every time, yeah.
And then we see what happens next. And then we beat him like 6 times in the last issue.
This should
it's
be... I don't always know exactly... I don't always understand the mechanics of it, as you said. But I like that there are repercussions and that it's difficult. That, like, we don't just beat the bad guy and then the spell is wiped out. Whenever we beat him, the world is wrong. And when you get to the end, it's still wrong, and that's how we fix the DC Universe. But I really like that.
I think one of the best moments...
I do have questions about why certain people remember things and other people don't remember things.
Yeah. I think one of the best moments in this entire book is... Okay, so in the final issue, they kill him twice.
Yeah.
And he comes
back.
back.
He turns into pure energy.
He comes back, and he grabs Superman, he's like... I will not die until you die.
That was the best.
Because he's like, look, I've lost, but you will die with. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it just becomes a revenge thing at that point.
Yeah. Well, and he gets to that in that final issue all together. He's like, look, I get it.
Great.
My plan's not going to happen. I'm just going to kill all the superheroes.
Yeah, I'm going to take you all down with me. No, it's awesome.
Yeah. That should be in modern events more often.
He's legitimately scary.
He is. Especially when they keep killing him, he keeps not dying.
And he always feels big enough.
Yeah. But no, that's the big thing.
Like I never believe he doesn't have the power he's supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you have that a lot where you have to depower a character in order for the heroes to beat him. Like, it's another thing we don't do a lot in modern events is we'll have a token death. This kills off 3 major characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 major characters. I think there's somebody else that dies. I can't remember who. Like I said, it pretends to kill one element off.
All of Earth 2 dies.
Well, no, that's true. But like, there are big moments where there are sacrifices that stick, and I just appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I didn't realize was in this that I really loved was the ending with the Earth 2 people, where it's like we're gonna go somewhere else. Because that's what Infinite Crisis. I was wondering because the big thing in Infinite Crisis is that we find out that Superman, Lois, Superboy, and Alexander Luthor have been sitting in like a pocket dimension this whole time.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I didn't realize that was picking up on a thread from Crisis on Infinite Earths. They set it up, kind of. Like they didn't know that's what they were doing.
They come back to it.
Yeah. They at the end of this book, they leave and go to their own little place.
Which is nice because that makes it so that Crisis isn't totally superfluous. Because after this, I mean, this is kind of a fun thing. It's not a total like thing that never happened episode because obviously you start with all these different Earths.
It's the ending of the DC universe.
And then when you get to the end, it starts in a different place. But the DC universe, like, you know, except for the fact that in the time when you were reading this, like we said, everything didn't start over, but like you could have just started right after this.
Yeah. Well,
so it's kind of nice that when you get to Infinite Crisis, it makes this matter again, is what I'm saying.
What I like about this, especially with its scale and with the fact that it uses everyone, that we've never replicated in any event, especially at DC, with their constantly like rebooting every like 10 years or whatever. This feels like the ending of the DC universe to that point. Flashpoint doesn't feel like the ending of the post-Crisis DC universe.
It's because
nor does Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, and Flashpoint should have to some degree done what this did. I wouldn't want exactly the same story, but the problem with Flashpoint versus what this does is this is all those characters as you knew them, and dealing with some of them in a story with like as you know the actual main characters that you're following. Flashpoint was just like we snap our fingers and it's Elseworlds for a while, and then we snap our fingers again,
and now the world's different.
And now the world is just arbitrarily different. And this is at the end a little bit less arbitrary.
I mean, it's the difference between like then and now comics. Like this is so concerned about continuity. I also didn't know. Because there's a period of time when Jonah Hex is in the future, and it's called Hex, and it's just a Mad Max ripoff. I know this is how we got him there. We just threw him into the future arbitrarily.
Yeah, I didn't know he was ever in the future. Yeah, no, that's hilarious.
Like it's just one panel where it's just like, and some people will be in different places than the last you saw them, and like it says like Jonah Hex is in the future. And I was like,
so there is stuff that is admittedly like actually arbitrary.
Yeah, I don't know why Jonah Hex is in the future. I'm like because of this.
Yeah, but it at least is kind of about the specific thing that makes the multiverse change, where Flashpoint is just, you get to the end and Flash thinks he fixed everything, but now it's just put together differently, as opposed to actually living in the world that this is in the first place. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to like rewrite Flashpoint. The Elseworlds that we were in Flashpoint was an interesting one.
No, I like the Flashpoint world.
Yeah, and
it just shouldn't have been how we restarted the DC universe.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so
I'm not
everyone should
I'm
read
not being
this
very
once.
articulate. I'm just saying that I feel like this matters more as a as an actual story to lead into it.
And unlike Flashpoint, at least in my personal opinion, you can go back to this and be like, this is hefty. No wonder it was so important. You went to Flashpoint, it barely exists. It's 5 issues. Like,
no, you
this
gotta
shouldn't have the issue count.
You have to read all the stuff around it. And
just to get it to be an enjoyable story.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel world-changing. This feels world-changing.
Because everybody remembers Thomas Wayne from that, but none of that stuff is in the Flashpoint the actual book, the actual miniseries. It's in the tie-ins.
Yeah.
There were tie-ins in other running books to Crisis also.
It would be like if when you came back from Age of Apocalypse, all of the X-Men were different for no reason.
Yeah, precisely.
This is important. Everyone should read this once if you're a comic book person. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's not just not fun. I don't think this is an enjoyable read. There are a couple of moments that I really liked. I underlined it This is homework. I didn't enjoy this. I will never read this again. I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I read it. It's important.
Weirdly, I actually may go back to it again. Honestly, I mean, I probably won't read it cover to cover. I'll probably skim certain parts of it. Now that I've reread it and I know what parts are really important and really matter, but it's more because I want to see if more of it actually makes more sense than I'm giving it credit for. Where I want to try to like pull it apart and really figure some stuff out.
I want to, in the near future, do Secret Wars, which is the Marvel 12-issue major event that comes out a year before this. And
I'm sure we'll read faster than this does.
I'm sure I'll read faster. I'm interested to know if I'm more invested. Not just because it's Marvel and DC, but like I want to know if I think that's a better story, or if event comics back then were kind of tedious.
And to be fair, that of course has the advantage of not existing in order to make a big editorial thing happen.
I may exist to sell toys.
Well, okay, that's true, but I mean, there's not like this big mandate to get to the end of with Secret Wars.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That is just a big story, and there are some things in that universe that change because of it. Spider-Man gets his costume.
Yeah.
But like,
Colossus breaks up with Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, and so like. Things are changed, but it's not like Crisis were like nothing will ever be the same.
No, but those two books are kind of spoken of in the same breath. Like those are the comic book events.
No, that's absolutely true.
I want to see if I like Secret Wars more, because it's entirely possible. I'm like Secret Wars had like a tenth of the cast of Crisis, and it's still kind of boring. Like that's possible.
I'm possible. Curious. But and I'm pretty sure you will like that better.
Yeah.
When you read that and you like it better, just remember, it does have some advantages over Crisis.
It does.
Because it's not as ambitious.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
It's ambitious. It's not this ambitious.
No, it's not. It's not trying to be. It's not every Marvel character. It's a cast like.
Because like in the same breath, I want to praise this for being able to get every character in it, and also say it doesn't really manage to.
It doesn't need every character.
It doesn't need every character in it. Yeah.
And Commandy! His name is Commandy!
Yeah, that's it.
That's the Jack Kirby kid at the end of the universe.
And yeah, the big...
Commandy's in this!
And yeah, like we said earlier, one of the big issues it has is that I don't always know who exactly I'm supposed to
feels like representation.
Pay attention to.
It feels like they told a big cosmic story and we just needed to get every single character at least in a panel.
For instance, you kind of don't have to pay attention to Firestorm, but he shows up a lot.
And Miss Frost, or whatever her name is.
Killer Frost.
Killer Frost. Her and that...
Well, we don't do anything with the love potion thing.
It just wears off.
It just wears off after a while.
And that not Firebrand. There's a couple characters in this I only know because of Who's Who. Firebrand is one of them. The other Fire Girl who changes her costume for no reason. No, the one...
Starfire's in there some.
Well, yeah. But no. The one... she's like Firebird or something, where her costume gets ripped, and Firestorm's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, hey, I'm naked, give me a second, and she just makes a new costume for no reason. Although I know that second costume, I've never seen that first costume.
Yeah, but you know what was really weird about that? Okay, because I didn't know the character at all. You know what was really weird about the second costume? I forgot all about that scene. She loses her costume, and in a panel, she's like, oh, I'm naked. I don't know how she makes that, but like, when she shows up...
It's like Storm in the X-Men cartoon.
When you get to the next panel and she's wearing that costume, I thought the idea was her costume got ripped and, oh no, I'm partially naked? No, that's her costume now. Like, it was too revealing to be the thing you make right after you've lost your costume.
No, it's head to toe, isn't it?
No, it's got like a big section in the middle that's just flesh.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought...
I don't know where it is.
I have no idea. I'm just skimming page hoping
I'm pretty sure it's earlier than the Supergirl death.
I think it's later.
I don't remember where it is. It all runs together after a while. This was...
Oh, I wanted to mention the issue that has the thing across the bottom, which I don't think is nearly as effective as they want it to be, but I've seen used later to better effect.
Okay.
Like, I've seen Bendis do this, and it works better.
What he's talking about is there's a section in, what is it, 10 or 11, where...
Death at Dawn Time, I think that's 10.
Where across the bottom, you've got panels that are telling a different story than what's in the rest of the page, and you have to kind of read those separately.
Yeah, and but it's like, it's just like, I got bored. Like, at first I was reading those, and I was like, oh, you're just telling me, and they fought valiantly in this universe, and then they died.
I ended up skipping that stuff, honestly. Wasn't that supposed to be like the notes of the Monitor or something? Or was it... Or was it Harbinger's
It's Harbinger
notes?
continuing Monitor's notes.
Oh, that's what... Okay.
Like, he had notes, and like... Well, like, those I never mentioned before. You know who else gets an arc in this? But, like...
Yeah, we should have had that at the beginning. Well, and you know what? That would have been a way to open the series to give us all that background with the Green Lantern.
Yeah. Monitor's log... Whatever, and then she continues that. No, that'd be great. You know who else has an arc in this? That is, I think, is a really good arc.
Oh, you could have treated it like Watchmen, like Under the Hood.
Yeah, you do it all in the back.
Yeah.
You know who has an arc in this? But it's only for like the last 4 issues, and I wish was seeded throughout the entire book. Wally West.
Yeah.
Wally West is a great arc.
Well, and it seems like we suddenly just shoehorn him in because we're going to kill off Barry, and he's got to replace him.
Yeah, and apparently running was making him die. I thought that was interesting. He stopped being Kid Flash because running is making him die.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, well, I was only Kid Flash to differentiate myself from Barry. His Flash should live on. I'm gonna be the Flash now. I was like, that's awesome. That's great. That's a great arc.
That's why I'm wearing his costume now.
But
it's too truncated.
It should be earlier. Like, I should be with Wally for more of this.
No, you should have Wally like, oh no, where's Barry? I can't find him.
Yeah.
And then, oh crap, I'm going to have to start using my powers again, but it's making me die, and then he's got this, conundrum.
I also love that Barry dies off screen. Not off screen to us, but like, no one knows he's dead until the Monitor says, just like I killed Supergirl and Flash, like, he did kill
he's
the
dead,
Flash.
yeah.
We just haven't known where he is, but we know now he's dead. There's good stuff like that.
Yeah, there's just some wading through things that are kind of, hard to trudge through.
I want an abridged version.
Yeah.
Like I want somebody to go through, like,
find the important bits.
Just wipe out like pages and panels. I want an abridged version of this.
Because I think you could cut this down to 6 or 7.
I think you can cut this down to 6 or 7. I agree. Well, and they're already they're already oversized. That's the other thing. Is it's not just 12 issues. It's 12 issues where the first issue is 35. I think issue 6 is 35, and issue 12 is 50. So it's not. It's like 24 issues worth of comics, like page count wise.
That's true.
It could be 6 issues.
And you know what else?
It's 6 25-page issues with 50 being 6 and
you know what else this does that we would not do now? Batman is not important.
That is not important at all. I love it. Because he's just a guy.
Yeah, and I love...
At least he looks right.
I love this era of it, this, just before Miller, changes things forever with Batman.
This just barely almost got canceled,
but this is a year before that. I love the Batman that, isn't really... I guess he's supposed to terrify criminals just because of his costume, but he doesn't talk at all like modern Batman.
No, he's very talky. He talks a lot, and like
everyone
else.
He's like an unfunny Adam West Batman. That's how I've always seen him, and I enjoy those stories. I think they're fun.
I mean, that's the 70s.
But where he's just a generic detective wearing a batsuit.
That's kind of what he's in the Steve Englehart stuff.
No, that's true.
No, I also like that Batman.
But that stuff at least is more moody around Batman.
It's before, because everything after Dark Knight Returns, even if it's not to the degree of Miller, he's so driven and antisocial.
Yeah.
This is not an antisocial Batman.
That's exactly right. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. He's not antisocial at all.
This Batman makes complete sense to be friends with Superman. Like, when Frank Miller shows up, it's like, it never made sense. This Batman is friends with Superman.
Yeah, and he smiles a lot.
He's super friends.
But I like the bit with the Joker that we get toward the beginning.
I do too. I also like that. And there's a good bit in Infinite Crisis I remember with the Joker.
It felt a lot like Laughing Fish. Mm. And for a minute I thought it was Laughing Fish, and then it wasn't. It was just a real similar situation.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just. I don't even remember what it was.
It's another thing like that where he's trying to like force a public official to do something. I can't remember what exactly it was, but yeah.
But yeah.
But anyway, I should mention, I forgot I had these. I actually have these in the original first printing singles, and it is recolored. I've never read it with the original coloring. I haven't popped these open and read them, but but I mean, I did open one and look to see what the coloring looked like. But I like the recoloring a lot better.
Oh, we didn't mention Pariah at all, which tells you exactly how much I cared about that character.
Yeah. So yep.
He's really important, except he's.
They try to treat him as real tragic, and I think it's deflated a little bit when you find out that he didn't entirely do what he thought he did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He thought he caused, but also I didn't buy that. So.
Yeah, because he still kind of did cause it.
Okay, so he made a machine to look at the dawn of time, and looking at the dawn of time, he sees.
It's supposed to be like a human hubris thing, where man was not meant to tamper.
Yeah.
But
he sees the antimatter universe.
We're not ready for fire yet. That kind of thing.
And that wakes up the antimatter and gives the antimatter universe the ability to start infecting our universe. And his was the first world that was taken. But then later, the antimatter says, "It's not your fault." And he's like, "Oh my God, it's not my fault!" And the antimatter's like, "I noticed you meddling, and that's what gave me the idea to take over the universe. But you meddling didn't make the antimatter universe take that." I was like, that's still real similar. Joker wants to take over a silent film company.
No, that's what it was. Yeah.
Which reminded me of Nightfall when he when he kidnaps the film producer to try and make the death of Batman.
Yeah. But no, I had the same thing where I was wondering how he wasn't still responsible, but the book is kind of saying he's not.
Yeah.
And so I still think it deflates it a little bit because it was supposed to be it was supposed to be a redemption story. Also, and it's less of a redemption story.
He looks really cool whenever his hood's up. Like, he looks kind of like the Spectre. The second that the hood's down, he's just always crying, and like he's got like gray hair, like he looks like an old man. And like sometimes they treat him like he's real ominous, but then his hood comes down, he's just like this crying old man.
I also had, real quick, we got to finish.
We are twice the length that we intended to talk about.
We are, but it's Crisis.
It's Crisis.
And, yeah,
and we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's a lot more we could have talked about. I question the logic of... Okay, so the idea with Pariah is that he is drawn to terrible things happening, to pain and stuff.
No. He watches the universes die as his punishment for being the first one who like let the antimatter universe. So it's not that he just watches like terrible events. He's specifically watching the universes be eaten by the antimatter universe.
But he talks about it more generically than that.
Until we find out what he's doing, and then it feels like it's retconned.
But it's weird because he's like I'm drawn to tragedy and like you're right. It does seem to just be the universe is disappearing.
Once we get his backstory.
But that's not the way he talks about it. And yeah, but here's the thing. He's still saying it in those terms when the anti-monitor gets beat the first time and you got the 5 Earths that are overlapping. And I just think the way he says this is weird, and I question the logic of it. Where he's like, well, because I'm not being drawn somewhere else, I know that there's no danger here. And I'm like, but if you're drawn to danger and to pain and stuff, and you're here and you're not going anywhere else, wouldn't you think this would be where terrible things would happen?
Yeah.
I question that.
I also thought that was weird. Yeah.
It's like, no, this is the place where you should think everything's going to blow up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is our real broad surface review of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I don't know if you could review it any other way. Unless you did issue by issue.
Issue would be the way to review this, yeah.
You could do this page by page. Get Dan to worry.
That would be crazy. Yeah, I don't know if anyone would watch us talk about Crisis page by page. That would be wild. But anyway, so that is our 1 hour brief discussion on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Eric and I are going to move on now to a second vault. We're going to talk a little bit about more Tom King Batman. And just recently we've gotten more requests for that, so I'm glad we're getting some of that knocked out. We're going to do everything after Warren Jokes and Riddles up to the wedding issue. So it's like 37 to 50, or is it even a little bit earlier than that?
I think it's like 29 to 50, but I could be wrong.
No, it's like 33 to 50.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought Warren Jokes and Riddles ended earlier.
Unless
there's
there's
start
a
till, like,
whole
24.
arc that I missed for some reason.
Did you read the stuff with Talia?
Yeah.
Okay.
That starts at 33.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay, cool.
33 to 50.
So 33 to 50. Anyway, so we'll see you in just a little bit to talk about that, and I hope you stick around with us. Thanks a lot for watching. And in the meantime, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
We'll see you later, folks.